Hello, and welcome to my YouTube channel, The Practical ID, where I teach you what instructional designing is about in the real world of corporate America. In this video, we will talk about 5 tips that you can use today to create a stellar portfolio that will get you hired. Hi, my name is Noreen Sheikh. I'm a veteran instructional designer with 20 years of ID experience. I have a passion for instructional design, and now more than ever, I feel like there's a need for good instructional designers. So I'm here to share my knowledge with you. I hope you find this video helpful. Over the years, I have made portfolios for myself, both good and bad, and also interviewed folks for ID jobs with portfolios, both good and bad. What I observed is that most good portfolios follow the same basic guidelines that make them good. Today, I'm sharing those 5 guidelines that will help you create that killer portfolio to get you that dream job. And if you stick around till the end, I will share a bonus tip on how to get noticed in the ID job market. So grab a notepad and pen, take notes, and here we go. Tip number 1, include a great bio section. Now you may think this is obvious, but I cannot tell you how many times I will see a portfolio thrown together without a bio section. Consider your bio the front door to your portfolio. So your bio is your chance to put your best foot forward. It gives you an opportunity to highlight your achievements, your abilities, and make a personal connection with the reader. Your bio doesn't need to be complicated. It can be simple. You don't need to put all your experience and project in there. This should be focused on your overarching career goals, your high-level experience, include a statement on your career achievements. If you already have a bio, for example, from your LinkedIn profile, you can certainly use that. I personally love to see something casual, friendly, and unique or personal about the author. So consider including a fun fact about yourself, such as your hobby or maybe your pet. Tip number 2, your portfolio has to demonstrate end-to-end knowledge. So what do I mean by that? What I mean is that above and beyond all, I want you to demonstrate that you have end-to-end knowledge, that you can take a project from the concept or problem stage all the way to the end state, which is your deliverable, be it an e-learning or virtual instructor-led class or a live workshop. And then I want you to show how it solved the problem you were tasked to solve. This also means that your portfolio should highlight your work process, your problem-solving skills, your project management skills, and that you know how to choose the right modality for your training. For example, if you need to teach your audience a highly hands-on process, you may opt for a live class or workshop over an e-learning. Tip number 3, choose 3 to 5 examples to showcase. So this is my recommendation of how many samples you should include. I've found that between 3 to 5 is best. Any less, and you're not going to be able to showcase all your skills and sell yourself properly. And any more than 3 to 5, really the manager is not going to have time to read. So pick your very best 3 to 5 examples to showcase. So what should you include in each example? I recommend that you include the topics that are shown here for each example that you pick. The reason being that it demonstrates your end-to-end knowledge that I talked about earlier. Start with a brief description of your problem. Talk about your course features. For example, if you used a character throughout the course to explain the main concept or a specific technique that you'll be utilizing in your live course. Next, have a published sample of your work. I know, a lot of you are saying right now, but I can't show my work because all my work is proprietary. Well, there's a couple of ways to get around that. Number 1, ask for permission to show off your work. If you remove the logo and change some of the actual text to generic text. And then number 2, create a new course. And yes, this is time consuming, but it is so worth it. If you absolutely cannot have a published sample, then ask if you can remove the logo and the text and at least use some screenshots. This is the minimum you can do. Next, include an objective statement on how your course solved the problem. Did it teach the sellers better negotiation skills, which resulted in more contracts won? Did it teach managers how to interview and not ask illegal questions, making sure your company stayed compliant? Put that in there to show your understanding of the problem and critical thinking. Finally, include your role in the project. For example, you created the deliverable, which was an e-learning, or a leader guide, or a VILT presentation deck. You worked with cross-functional SMEs, or you created the content yourself, whatever it was. If you worked with C-suite folks, or the course was deployed to a really large audience, state it, include it. From having looked at many portfolios and submitted many portfolios of my own, I can tell you what content gets the most attention. Number 1, include 2 articulate storyline examples. Yes, I'm talking about storyline examples and not Captivate, because Storyline is the most used e-learning software that is used in corporate America. So if you don't know Storyline or you don't have Storyline, you can download a free 60-day trial and build the 2 samples. Trust me, it's worth going through this pain. I've personally never hired an ID without seeing their articulate storyline work. Not including this may get you cut pretty fast. I'm including a link to the articulate site in the description where you can download the trial. Now, if you have a really cool Captivate project built out already, you can substitute one of the articulate projects for the Captivate project, but I'd rather you stick to articulate if possible. Number 2, include 1 virtual learning training, or VILT, or instructor-led training, or ILT, like classroom training, live training example. The reason I ask you to include this is because you want to show that you're an instructional designer and you're not just an e-learning developer. Unless the job you're applying for is specifically an e-learning developer job, it is important that you include this to demonstrate that you can develop training for different modalities. Number 3, a storyboard. So a storyboard does not have to be elaborate. It can be as simple as a PowerPoint deck, but it should demonstrate your planning abilities. Storyboards are used often. Unless you're doing rapid e-learning creation, you will almost always need some type of storyboard. So briefly, your storyboard will state the objectives of the course, sections of the content, main concepts, and also visual information such as the color palette, fonts used, and images. If you need help with storyboarding, comment below and I'll make a video just dedicated to that. Number 4, supplementary material. Now, this is not super important, but it's certainly a nice to have. So if you've built a leader guide for a virtual instructor-led training or a reference guide to accompany an e-learning, you can certainly include it here. Okay, now that you have all the content for your portfolio, where can you host it and show it off? You can host your portfolio on Google Sites, Wix, Weebly, WordPress, and Squarespace, to name a few. I've included links to each in the description, so check them out and see which one is suitable for you. For my e-learnings, I use the Publish to Articulate review option, turn off the comments, and use those links on my portfolio website. This is using Articulate Storyline and Articulate Review 360. So I save any PowerPoints and reference guides that I want to use in my portfolio as Google Docs and then use those links in my portfolio as well. Tip number 5. How do I use my portfolio? So now that you have your portfolio and you have it hosted on a web page or space, what do? So here are some things you can do with your portfolio. Number 1, add the link to your resume in bold and up top. This increases your chances for your resume being picked when it's screened and for the hiring manager to notice you. Trust me, so many IDs are not doing this. Having a great portfolio is the easiest way to stand out in your hiring manager's pile of resumes. Number 2, add it to your LinkedIn profile in the featured section. People will click on it and they will look at your work. You've put this effort into building this awesome portfolio, so put it out there. Hiring managers will almost always look up your profile before they do the first interview with you. Having your portfolio up there gives you a chance to make a good first impression even before the interview. So if you remember at the beginning of the video, I promised to give you a bonus tip. So here it is. My bonus tip is network. Network. Put your portfolio out there. Seek out professional ID groups on social media. Join these groups. Join the discussions and you'll be amazed at the wealth of knowledge and resources shared on here. Make connections when you have an opportunity. Share your portfolio website. Ask for managers in the group to give you feedback. Another thing you can do is to go to your local chapter of professional organizations and meetings. For example, I like to go to the Association of Talent Development meetings and meet others in the instructional design field. Connect with them on LinkedIn and make sure that your portfolio is up at the top of the page when you do that. Soon you'll start your brand, and this increases your job opportunity massively. True branding is actually pretty involved, but I'll go into that in another video. But last but not least, iterate and keep your portfolio up to date. Once you've used your portfolio and are in a nice job, it's hard to take time and update your portfolio with new projects. I've definitely fallen in this trap as well. Keep your portfolio updated and current so that you can switch to another job quickly if need be. All right, so let's do a quick review. Tip number 1, start with a great bio. This is the front door to your portfolio, so make sure it's a good one. Tip number 2, demonstrate end-to-end knowledge. Show how you can take it from the problem stage to the deliverable stage. Tip number 3, choose your very best 3 to 5 examples. 2 articulate storyline, 1 VILT or ILT, 1 storyboard example, and 1 supporting document. Tip number 4, host your portfolio properly. Don't just send them links. Use Google Sites, Wix, Weebly, WordPress, Squarespace, or a similar platform to host your portfolio. Tip number 5, use your portfolio. Put it in your resume and LinkedIn profile. And bonus tip, network and put your portfolio out there. Here's a quote from Stephen Hawking. The universe doesn't allow perfection. The reason I share this quote is that so many times people are scared to put their portfolio out there because it's not perfect. Resist the urge to make your portfolio perfect. You will want to improve on this example or add this piece of text and so on and so on. And that's never going to happen. You're never going to have a perfect portfolio. Don't wait for your portfolio to be perfect because it never will be. Put together your portfolio and you can iterate and improve as you get more experience. Finally, my parting advice to you is be yourself. Employers are looking for authenticity, so be yourself. It's okay if your portfolio is not perfect. It's okay if you're not perfect because you're a human being. And small mistakes here or quirkiness there only shows that you're a human. So don't have fears and put your portfolio out there. I hope you found these tips helpful. If you have further questions, you can find me at thepracticalid.com. Please subscribe, like, and comment. I would love to hear from you. What other topics about instructional design do you want to see videos on? I post new videos regularly, so come back and check often. Thank you.